Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the studio. If you are listening to this right now, it means you have already taken the first big leap. You have finished episode 1. You have acknowledged that the translation trap is the biggest wall standing between you and fluency, and you are officially ready to start building.
It is such an exciting place to be. I know from talking to so many of our listeners that the first step is often the scariest because it requires you to let go of everything you were taught in school. You have to stop being a student of grammar and start being a practitioner of speech.
That is exactly right. And today we are giving you the actual architecture for that speech. This is Module 1, Episode 2, and we are calling this the Lego method.
I absolutely love this analogy because it takes the stress out of the room. When you think about language as a massive mountain of rules and irregular verbs, it feels impossible. But when you think about it as a bucket of colorful plastic blocks that you just snap together, it becomes a game. Before we begin discussing the Lego method, we'd like to ask our listeners for a small favor. If you enjoy our Chatcast and find it helpful, please click the like button for this episode and subscribe to the English Chatcast channel.
Good point, Anna. Liking our episodes and subscribing to our channel ensures that we can continue to offer valuable content in the future. Anna, think back to when you were a child. Imagine you are sitting on the floor with a giant pile of Lego bricks. You want to build a house. Now, do you sit there and worry about how the plastic was made? Do you think about the chemical melting point of the red brick versus the blue brick? Do you try to carve your own bricks out of raw wood?
Of course not. That would be ridiculous. You would never get the house built. You just reach into the pile, you find a piece that looks like a window, and you snap it onto a piece that looks like a wall. You are using pre-made shapes to create a new reality.
This is precisely where most English learners go wrong. They are trying to manufacture their own bricks while they are in the middle of a high-pressure conversation. They are trying to remember if the verb is singular or plural, if the preposition is in or at, and if the word order is correct. They are trying to build the plastic while the person they are talking to is waiting for them to finish the house.
It is exhausting for the speaker, and honestly, it is exhausting for the listener too. But today, we are going to change that. We are handing you your first professional bucket of pre-assembled parts. In the blueprint, we call these phrasal blocks.
I really wish someone had told me about phrasal blocks when I was first trying to learn a second language. I spent years memorizing lists of single words. I was like a builder showing up to a construction site with 10,000 tiny grains of sand, trying to glue them together one by one to make a brick. It took forever.
And the worst part is, even if you glue them together perfectly, they often don't look like a real brick. They look like a strange homemade version of a brick. That is what happens when you translate word for word. You might be grammatically correct, but you don't sound natural.
So, let's get into the heart of it. What exactly is a phrasal block? In the academic world, they use big words like lexical chunks or formulaic sequences. But we prefer blocks because it reminds you that these are solid, unbreakable units of sound.
A phrasal block is simply a group of words that are frequent friends. They have spent so much time together in the history of the English language that they have essentially fused into one single sound. They don't like to be separated, and they certainly don't like to be analyzed.
A perfect example that we use almost every single day is the phrase, by the way. Now let's look at that through the eyes of a translator. A translator looks at that and sees 3 separate words. They see by, they see the, and they see way.
And they get stuck immediately. They think, okay, by is a preposition. Does it mean next to, or does it mean created by? And way, is that a road? Is it a direction? If you try to translate those 3 words into your native language, the result is usually complete nonsense.
But if you are using the blueprint, you don't see 3 words. You see one single shape. You hear one single sound. By the way, it is a Lego brick that you use when you want to add a new piece of information to a conversation. You don't have to understand why it works. You just have to know that it does work.
This is the secret that native speakers have been hiding from you. When Ben and I are talking to each other right now, our brains are not working very hard. We are not choosing individual words. We're just reaching into our mental Lego buckets and grabbing blocks we have used 10,000 times before.
It is like the autofill feature on your smartphone. When you start typing a message, your phone suggests the next 3 words because it knows those words usually go together. Phrasal blocks are the autofill for your mouth. They allow you to speak at the speed of thought because you are processing groups of words instead of individual letters.
Imagine the relief your brain feels when it realizes it doesn't have to build a 10-word sentence. It only has to snap together 2 or 3 blocks. Suddenly, you have 80% more mental energy to focus on what you are actually saying, rather than how you are saying it.
I had a student a few years ago who was incredibly frustrated. He had a massive vocabulary. He knew all the fancy words you find in literature, but every time he went to a business meeting, he felt like a failure because he couldn't keep up with the rhythm of the conversation.
I bet he was trying to build every sentence from scratch.
Exactly. He had 10,000 grains of sand and no bricks. I told him to stop learning new words and start collecting blocks. I told him to listen to how his colleagues started their sentences. Within a month, his confidence exploded. He wasn't smarter, he was just using better tools.
That is such a powerful shift. So let's open up the Lego bucket for everyone listening and show them the 3 specific starter kits that every effortless speaker needs to have.
The first kit is what I call the social lubricants. These are the blocks that help a conversation move smoothly. They are the phrases that open doors and connect ideas. One of the absolute best is, "I was wondering if."
Oh, that is a classic blueprint block. Look at that structure. It is 4 words. If you try to analyze the grammar there, you start wondering, why is it past continuous? Why am I using was wondering? Does that mean I am not wondering now?
Stop! You are giving me a headache just thinking about it. None of that matters. What matters is that "I was wondering" is a polite, natural, and highly flexible way to ask for something.
You can snap almost anything onto the end of it. I was wondering if you have a minute. I was wondering if we could go to lunch. I was wondering if it is going to rain. It is a master key. Once you have that one block, you can unlock 100 different conversations without ever thinking about verb tenses.
Another great one in this kit is, "Do you happen to know?" Again, don't worry about the word happen, don't worry about the infinitive, just hear the sound, "Do you happen to know?" It is a professional, soft way to ask for information. It makes you sound sophisticated and natural at the same time.
The second kit is the opinion framework. This is the kit that saves you from the "I think" loop. We have all heard it. Every sentence starts with "I think." I think it is good. I think the weather is nice. I think I am tired.
It sounds like a robot reading a shopping list. It is very repetitive, and it actually makes it harder for people to listen to you because the rhythm never changes.
So instead of "I think," reach for these blocks. "If you ask me," or "as far as I am concerned," or my personal favorite, "to be honest with you."
To be honest with you is a total game changer for fluency, and here is why. It gives your brain a loading screen.
Explain that, Ben. I think that is a concept people really need to understand.
Okay, think about when you are watching a video online and the internet is slow. The video pauses for a second to buffer or load the next part so it can play smoothly. When you use a long phrasal block like, "to be honest with you," your mouth is on autopilot. You don't have to think about those 5 words because they are one single block.
So while your mouth is saying those 5 words, your brain has 2 or 3 extra seconds of free time to plan the rest of the sentence.
Exactly. You are buying yourself time. You are buffering your speech. By the time you finish saying, "to be honest with you," the next part of your thought is fully loaded and ready to come out. That is how you avoid the and the and those long, awkward silences in the middle of a sentence.
It is brilliant. You are using the automatic parts of language to support the creative parts of language. And the third kit? Those are the time and space connectors.
In the meantime, or sooner or later, or every once in a while.
These are the textures of English. If you only use basic words, your speech feels flat. But when you drop in a block, like every once in a while, it adds color. It tells the listener that you understand the music of the language, not just the definitions of the words.
So now the big question. How do you find these? Because you can't just go to a store and buy a box of English Legos.
Actually, you can, but the store is this podcast. The store is the movies you watch and the songs you hear, but you have to change the way you are shopping.
Most students shop for new words. They sit there with a notebook and they wait for a big, rare word like magnificent or exhilarating. They write it down, they feel proud, and then they never use it because, let's be honest, how often do you really need to say the word exhilarating?
Almost never. Unless you are on a roller coaster, maybe.
Right. So stop shopping for new words. Start shopping for frequent friends. From now on, when you listen to us talk, I don't want you to listen for the meaning of the words. You already know most of the meanings. I want you to listen for the rhythm. I want you to listen for the groups of words that Ben and Anna always say together.
Like when Ben says, "the thing is," he says that all the time.
I really do. It is a problem, but it is a perfect block. The thing is, 3 words. It signals to the listener that I am about to explain something important. It is a block I have used so many times that I could say it in my sleep.
That is what we want for you. We want you to become a curator of blocks. A curator is someone who looks at a whole gallery of art and picks only the pieces that belong together.
So here is your exercise for this week. Pick 10 minutes of any English audio. It could be this podcast, it could be a YouTube video, it could be a scene from a movie. Listen to it 3 times.
The first time, just listen for the general idea. The second time, listen for the nouns and verbs. But the third time, that is the blueprint listen. I want you to find 3 phrasal blocks, groups of 3 or 4 words that the speaker said as if they were one single word.
Once you find them, write them down. But here is the most important part of the exercise. You have to test the snaps.
I love this part. Testing the snaps means seeing how flexible the block is.
Exactly. If you find the block, "I am looking forward to," try to snap 10 different things onto the end of it. I am looking forward to the weekend. I am looking forward to seeing you. I am looking forward to my dinner. I am looking forward to the holiday.
If you can snap a lot of different things onto a block, you have found a high-value piece of the blueprint. That block is now a permanent part of your Lego bucket. You never have to think about the grammar of that phrase ever again. You have mastered it.
Now, we should talk about the danger zone, because not every group of words is a good Lego block.
Oh, that is so true. Some students try to turn everything into a block. They try to memorize whole scripts or paragraphs.
I have seen that. They memorize a 5-sentence explanation of their job, and they sound great for those 5 sentences. But the moment someone asks them a question that isn't in the script, they crash. They have no more bricks left.
That is not a block. That is a cage. A real phrasal block must be flexible. It must be a basic shape that you can use in 100 different conversations. If you find a group of words and you can only think of one specific situation where you would use it, throw it away. It is taking up space in your brain.
You want the 2x4 red bricks. You want the pieces that can build a house today and a spaceship tomorrow.
Another thing to watch out for are what I call broken blocks. These are phrases students build themselves that sound grammatically okay, but feel wrong to a native speaker. Like when someone says, "according to me."
Oh, that is a tough one. It is a very common mistake. A student thinks, well, I can say according to the news, so why can't I say according to me?
But it just doesn't exist as a block in English. We say, "in my opinion," or "if you ask me."
This is why the blueprint rule is only use blocks that you have heard a native speaker use at least 3 times. We call this the rule of 3. If you hear me say it, then you hear Anna say it, and then you hear a character in a movie say it, it is a safe, solid Lego brick. You can trust it.
This really takes the pressure off, doesn't it? You don't have to be a genius. You don't have to invent the language. You just have to be a good observer. You just have to be a good collector of sounds.
It really does. I think the biggest burden for English learners is the feeling that they have to be original. They think they have to create every sentence like it is a work of art.
But language isn't art. It is a tool, and tools are standardized. A hammer is a hammer. A screwdriver is a screwdriver. You don't reinvent the hammer every time you want to drive a nail. You just pick up the tool and use it.
Phrasal blocks are your tools, and the more you have in your belt, the more effortless your work becomes.
So let's look at some more examples to really fill up everyone's bucket today. One of my favorites for everyday life is, "I will get back to you."
That is a professional powerhouse. Think about the blocks inside that. I will get back to you. 5 words. If you are translating, you're thinking, okay, will is future, get is, well, get has 50 meanings, back is a direction. You will get lost in the forest of words.
But as a block, it is one single intention. It means, "I don't have the answer now, but I will tell you later." It is smooth, it is polite, and it works in an office or with your friends.
It is not a big deal.
Oh, I use that one constantly. It is 6 words. It is a massive block, but we hear it as one sound. It's not a big deal. It is the ultimate block for relaxing a situation.
And notice how the stress works in these blocks. We don't say every word with the same power. We don't say, "it is not a big deal."
You sound like a very angry robot, Ben.
Exactly. We say, "it's not a big deal. The stress is at the end." The whole block has its own rhythm, its own melody. When you learn the block, you learn the melody for free. You don't have to study word stress because the block teaches it to you.
This is why phrasal blocks help your pronunciation too. You are learning the music of the phrase, not just the dictionary definition. You are learning how the words link together.
Out of. 2 small words. But we don't say out of. We say outa.
Out of coffee, out of time, out of luck.
If you learn out of as a block, you automatically learn the natural linking. You don't have to take a pronunciation class to know that the T sounds like a D. You just hear the sound of the Lego brick and you copy it.
It is the ultimate shortcut. It is like finding a secret path through the woods that takes you to the finish line in half the time.
So, As we wrap up this second phase of the blueprint, I want everyone to take a deep breath. I want you to feel that weight lifting off your shoulders. You do not have to build English one grain of sand at a time anymore.
You are now a builder. You are an architect. You are looking for shapes. You are looking for blocks.
Your mission for this episode is very specific. I want you to go into the comments section right now. I want you to pick one block we have talked about today. It could be, I was wondering if, or to be honest with you, or in the meantime.
Pick just one, and then I want you to test the snaps. Write 3 different sentences using that block in 3 different ways.
We will be in the comments looking for your work. We want to see how you are building your bucket. And don't be afraid to make mistakes. A broken Lego brick is still a piece of the game. We are here to help you snap them together correctly.
And remember, the more you practice finding these blocks, the more your brain will start to see them everywhere. It is like when you buy a new car and suddenly you see that same car on every street corner.
Once you know about phrasal blocks, you will start hearing them in every movie, every song, and every conversation. Your ears will literally change. You will stop hearing words and you will start hearing the music of the blueprint.
In our next episode, Module 1, Episode 3, we are going to take these blocks and we are going to move them into your actual physical world. We're going to talk about the labeling method.
It is one of my favorite techniques because it turns your house into a 24/7 English immersion lab. You don't even have to leave your kitchen to become fluent.
I am really looking forward to that one. It is where the blueprint becomes very real and very practical.
Me too. But for now, focus on your Lego bucket. Focus on the frequent friends. Stop translating, start connecting, and start snapping those blocks together.
We are so proud of the progress you are making already. Just by finishing these first 2 episodes, you are already thinking differently than 90% of English learners out there.
Great job, everyone. You're on the right path. I'm Ben. I'm Ben.
And I'm Anna.
If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to like and subscribe. Feel free to leave comments about the Chatcast. We love hearing from you. Until next time, keep practicing, keep listening, and remember, learning English with us is
A piece of cake. Thanks for listening, everyone. See you next time on the English Chatcast.